I'm Rosa Mendez, and I'm here at the #1 Long Island broadcast, Monty and Pharaoh. I had the best time ever!
Hey, listen, Daddy, you're listening to the #1 broadcast, Monty and Pharaoh, Daddy, in Long Island. The best pro wrestling broadcast of all time, I think.
Jimmy, I got to tell you, man, it feels good to be back on YouTube. It was quite disappointing what happened to us, but we bounced back fairly quickly.
Well, what else would we do? We're almost at 5,000 subscribers.
Well, speaking of that, man, we need more members.
Okay.
What do you think we need to do to get the people of those 5,000 subscribers to come on and join the team as a Monty and a Pharaoh member?
Nudity is out of the question. Any other ideas?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But what I do have a few ideas.
Well, just like Prel, they should tell 2 friends, and they could tell 2 friends, and so on and so on. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Check out all our content.
But that's, you know what? That's why you're the star of the show, because guess what? Members get special content. Even we spoke about it. Pharaoh came to me one day and he goes, man, what's the deal? I can't even watch some of these videos because I'm not a member. And I said, there you go, Pharaoh. You got to be a member because this is what the members get. They get free content that none of the other fans that watch this show get.
That's right.
You get free autographs from some of these wonderful stars that come in, right?
Nice.
All you do is you go to the MNP webpage, or right, our own page, and shoot us an email and say, hey, man, I want a picture of Tommy Rich. I want a picture of whatever. And boy, that's on its way.
We give them their choice.
That's right.
We rock.
We do rock.
And you need to rock too. Join.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SOB Sports, the SOB Sports Network with your hosts, Mike Halick, formerly known as Mantar, Tank of the Truth Commission, and Bruiser Mastino from the WWE and ECW, as well as Paul New, formerly known as Cannonball Grizzly and PN News. Without further ado, here are your hosts, Mike Halick and Paul New.
Ooh. Yo, baby, yo, what's up, my fat friend? How you doing today?
What's up, Chubbs? How's my friend from another mother, brother?
Hey, living large, man.
Right, large and in charge as usual, man. So I'd like to welcome Tim Beal. Tim Beal is back with us from Universal Talent Bookings off of his hiatus, man. Welcome back, Tim.
Tim's a little bit off with us today. He's checking into the airport. He's doing 2 things at one time, but we appreciate Tim being here for us, man. She's struggling through that airport at the moment. But look at him, man. He's getting the job done. He's got it going on. He's checking his ticket in and everything. My God, he looks good.
And luckily, I'm not a blonde. I can actually walk, talk, and chew bubblegum at the same time. Most people that are blonde can't do that.
Yeah,
dude.
Right. The hat you got on there, Tim. You're what are you looking for? You trying to get a Simply Outstanding look with that hat on today, or what, brother? Tim doesn't know he's live right now, man. But we're very happy to have Tim back in the studio with us, even though he's partly here and half not here and half here. And now he just took off his hat and exposed his gimmick. He needs to just shave that fucking hair off. I'll tell you that. I don't know what he's.
No, he's going through security right now at the airport, isn't he? They probably don't want him to have the phone in his hand. So anyway, Chubbs, what you been up to this week? What have you got going on?
Man, I've just been getting Max and Oliver kind of acclimated to the Mantar household. They're fighting for territory with my partner in crime, Blue, my cat. So he's in charge of the show here, and so the puppies are fighting for their spots on the totem pole here in the Mantar household. But they're all getting along good. Haven't been no bloodshed yet, so that's a good thing. You know what I mean?
So you haven't sat on any of them or anything like that? They're all in good hands?
No, but I almost crushed one yesterday, and And I actually got out of bed about 5 o'clock this morning, and I was walking to the kitchen and getting something to drink, and I stepped on a shoe, one of Mrs. Dunkin' Donuts' shoes, and I said, "Oh shit! I just killed the fucking dog." And I really thought I stepped on the dog, man. I fucking jumped up. I was like, "Oh my god! I just killed the son of a bitch." It was just a shoe, thank God, right? So
Yeah.
I averted disaster there, But it's been great, man, with these new puppies. Of course they're puppies and they're biting on shit and chewing on everything, and they're getting to learn their names and stuff. So it's all a process, man. But they're only 9 weeks on their way to 10 weeks old, so got a long time to go, man. A lot to learn, and we're just looking forward to the journey, man. Looking forward to having them around for a long, long time.
Yeah, I miss my dogs, man. That's always a part of it, dude. I mean, I still have trouble with my own name, so I know what those puppies are going through, buddy.
Well, if you had told me that in 2023 I'd be living in Southwest Florida with my father, my girlfriend, and my 14-year-old daughter, and I would have 2 puppies and a 7-month-old cat, I would call you a fucking liar. I would say there's no way possible. But, God is definitely on my side, and he's looking after me. He's blessing me every day. And here I am, simply outstanding as always, large and in charge, and coming to you live from Cape Coral, Florida. Nice, sunny, 84-degree day so far today. The people in Florida here in Cape Coral, they've really been raving about this weather. They said, it's normally in the mid-90s by now, and I tell you what, bro, at nighttime, it is 75 degrees, the wind is blowing. It is absolutely fucking paradise here, bro. I mean, it is so nice living here. I can't even tell you, man. I mean, you can't never be in a bad mood down here, because you walk outside, man, it's just paradise, pure paradise. Sunshine, palm trees, wind blowing, owls hooting, and birds chirping. And if an owl, one thing I found out is if you're building a house and an owl decides to burrow his residence in your property, then the build on your house ceases to exist from that point on until that owl decides to leave your property, because owls are protected here in Florida. And once they set down residency, man, they are there to stay until they decide to go. So, people that are building new houses, man, they're driving by on a daily basis to see if the owls have checked in or not, because if the owls check in, man, you're checked out, that's for sure.
That's crazy, man. It's the ultimate squatter rights for the owls in Florida, then, isn't it? Hey, I see you're wearing our one of our shirts that are going to be coming out pretty soon. Can you
Yes,
show the chest there?
SOB
Yeah.
Sports, man. Large and in
That's
charge,
great, man.
baby.
It looks pretty good. The only thing, it would look better if I was wearing it, but it looks pretty good on you, buddy. And on the back, of course, says our motto, which is, what's our motto, Mike? Can you tell the folks?
You only die once, but you live every day. And that's the absolute truth, folks. I mean, if you're not living your life, if you're not doing what you want to do on a daily basis, then you need to change that shit up right now, because, the way the government's got you set up is you're working 65 years of your life to retire for maybe 10 years if you're lucky to live 75, and just to die. Well, why the hell do you want to wait so long to make all that shit happen, man? If you want to go on a vacation, go on a vacation. Take a daily vacation. You want to go play golf, go play golf. You want to play poker, play poker. You want to go for a swim, go for a swim. You want to eat a salad like Paul does every day? Eat a salad, man. Eat that fucking cake. I'm diabetic, but if I want to eat a piece of strawberry cake, bro, I might just decide to have 2. Fuck it, because I'm living my life. I'm not.
You're gonna eat the whole cake. You're going to eat the whole cake, Chubbs.
I've been known to eat the whole cake with using only one fork too. Imagine that.
All right, so let's keep in mind that Tim's in the airport with kids around him and stuff like that. So we'll keep this a little bit more PG-13. You know what? The one thing you were talking about, and this is funny and it's completely off the wall, but you mentioned about maybe living to 75. You're not up with the news. There is a doctor in Australia, and he's working with stuff down there, and he figured he's got the pill for us to live to be at least 150 years old, dude. I could see you 150, man. I could see you 150. Well, still a virgin.
You know, I couldn't see myself at 150, man. I can't really see myself past 80, honestly, because I know how much pain I'm in now. I'll be 55 next month. I know how much pain I'm in every day now. And I can't imagine what the pain was going to be like at 80 or 85, let alone 150, right? I mean,
I know, man. I know what you're saying.
I mean, listen, I would love to be 150, you know, then I could see my grandkids and I could see my grandkids' grandkids. And that would be all well and good, you know, but I just don't think it's possible. I think it's a load of shit. I don't think the guy really has a pill, man. I think it's just a marketing play, you know.
Well, I believe the substance is called resveratrol. I'm sure I'm not doing the pronouncing, but I've heard about it before, and it's actually like a natural substance. And what he's he's using the stuff. He's used it on mice and everything like that. And like I said, it's a natural substance. You can actually get stuff as a peptide and stuff like that intake yourself, and it's supposed to, you know, extend your telomeres, and telomeres is what causes you to age and everything like that. Shorter your telomeres are. But anyway, maybe that's something I just brought up because you mentioned going to 75. I can't see myself past 80. The pain I'm in, my knees and my hips, and your face has just been killing me for years and years, dude.
You know, I gotta listen. Speaking of your face, man, you know, I just gotta drop a disclaimer here really quick because, you know, Mrs. Dunkin' Donuts heard me call her Mrs. Dunkin' Donuts the other day on the podcast, and she got a little offended. She says, you know, you make me sound like I'm a fucking degenerate or something. I was like, no, baby, I know you're educated. She goes, yeah, you know I'm educated, but nobody else knows I'm educated. Ladies and gentlemen, for the record, Mrs. Dunkin' Donuts has a master's degree. She is just retired. This is just a one-off thing that she's doing to pass the time of her day away. She loves people. She loves serving people. And she makes $20 an hour at Dunkin' Donuts. And, you know, the best part about it is, bro, I get all the donuts and coffee I want for free on a daily basis, man. And can I tell you how many jelly donuts I can eat at one sitting, bro?
At least a dozen. A baker's dozen, maybe at 13.
I can definitely eat more than you can put in one box, I'll tell you that.
Oh my God. Hey, you know what? I got a new nickname for her. Instead of Mrs. Dunkin' Donuts, you can call her Professor Dunkin' Donuts.
Professor Dunkin' Donuts. Mrs. Professor Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, I like that, man. That's kind of
I like it, Professor.
I'll have to run it by her, you know, because I don't want to get a frying pan upside the head, you know, again, because that shit hurt last time.
Well, now it sounds like a clever Dunkin' Donuts person. She sounds more clever if she's Professor Dunkin' Donuts. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you probably to Mrs. Professor Dunkin' Donuts.
And you know what? And one of these days, I might show her face on this camera. You know, I might let Mrs. Professor Dunkin' Donuts say hello to the whole podcast world out there. So you all know I promise you, I haven't made her up.
Will you tell Mrs. Duncan, Professor Dunkin' Donuts, I said hello, and where's my donuts? Where are my baker's dozen? Right? I want some with jelly stuff in it. Because I mean, they got Dunkin' Donuts over here. They got Dunkin' Donuts over here. Maybe she'd get me like a friends and family down or something like that. You know.
You know what, bro? Listen, Mrs. Dunkin' Donuts, she's pretty high up the ladder now, so I might just have to see if she can make a phone call, right? And maybe you could just pop on in and pick yourself up a free 6-pack of donuts, right?
Right,
You never
right.
know.
Six pack of donuts. Is
It's
donuts or
try.
it's not Bud Light, is it? Because you know what I mean. Everybody's on
No,
Bud Light
bro.
nowadays.
We're not talking about Bud Light for fuck's sake, man. Bud Light is no more, man. They are history. They are wiped off the planet. They don't even exist anymore. Tim Beal, how
Hey,
you
look,
doing, brother?
Tim Bill, how you doing, buddy? You're on mute, bud. You're on mute. We can't hear you, Tim.
How about now? Can you guys hear me?
Hey, there you go, Tim.
Right on.
Welcome back. Welcome back, Tim Beal, from your hiatus, man. How was
Thank
your
you, my
2
brother.
week hiatus? How was your 2 week hiatus, bro?
Well, I'll tell you, man, making a track through TSA security is like taking a track from here to Egypt. And the way airlines are these days, they don't want you to fly. They want you to drive because everything's a job and a half and a task and a half. They want you to get completely naked so they can do a strip search. But that's neither here nor there.
Oh my
Everything's good.
God! You just put a black cloud on my day, man. Because I can't imagine seeing your ass naked, bro.
Tim,
No
Tim,
way.
this is
I mean,
we're trying to be PG-13 here.
yeah. We're trying to be. This is a PG-13 show, and we just seen you with your hat off, for God's sakes, and now you're trying to tell us to imagine you with no clothes on. Come on, bro. I mean,
See, now you know my job after dark, man. I go on the stage, I start dancing for change, bro. You know, it's a job, but somebody's got to do it.
Well, Tim, what do you think, man? You've been following the Lakers in the NBA playoffs there.
Yeah,
What do you
man.
think?
You
I
know,
mean,
they're in. So, I mean, you know, sky's limits, man. I mean, the fact that they're in is a miracle. And some of the underdog stories, man, some of the greatest underdog stories in sports entertainment and sports period came from the Lakers versus the Celtics. So the Lakers have a history, man, of overcoming the odds. So we'll see what happens, brother.
Well, I have to tell you, man, that I really think that Anthony Davis has that team playing at their best potential right now. I actually have to probably give him more credit than I would LeBron James for getting that team together, because I firmly believe that Anthony Davis, as the center of that team, he is the catalyst. He is what makes things roll. And he is at the top of his game right now, ladies and gentlemen. He is dunking shots, man. He is blocking shots. He's hitting a turnaround jumper from 22 feet. This guy is playing some ball right now, baby. And the LA Lakers have shown up in the playoffs so far, man. I'm really surprised because, I wrote the Lakers off 2 months ago. And you know what? I'll admit when I'm wrong, which is, few and far between when that shit happens, man. It's a cold day in hell when simply outstanding Bruiser Mastino is wrong. And but I'll admit I'm wrong. The Lakers made the playoffs, man. Kudos to them. I didn't think they had a chance in hell, but I just don't think that they're gonna go past the second round. To be honest with you, I mean, I just hate the Lakers, man. That's all there is.
What do you guys think of LeBron James? What's your opinion on LeBron James?
he needs to retire.
Yeah.
I think he was held in check. I think he was held in check when they switched defenders out on him. He was held a little bit in check, which I think is it's showing he's not as dominating as he once was in the league. I mean, for me right now, I mean the last games, Steph Curry was playing the best there for the Warriors. He had a really good game offensively and defensively that I thought was interesting. I mean, this is really an interesting bracket, both sides for the NBA playoffs this year. I just think they drag it out too damn long, to be honest with you. But
I think all this playoff shit right now is for naught, because I think the two teams that are going to be in the NBA Finals, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's going to be the Denver Nuggets versus the Boston Celtics, because when it comes to the West, really there's only one team in the West, and that's Denver. Everybody else is a fucking turd. And, you got the Celtics. They're looking pretty good against Atlanta right now. Denver looked great last night in Game 3. They totally crushed their opponent last night and totally dominated from the second quarter on the road, nonetheless. And so the Denver Nuggets came to play in the West, but I just think it's a Boston Celtics championship all the way in 2023. And you guys aren't going to talk me out of it.
Let me tell you what I think the problem is, man. I think the fact that all these sports entertainers, athletes, whatever you want to call them, are all under guaranteed contracts. I'll be hard to think of how many players lived up to their contracts. Once they were under guaranteed contracts, multi-millions of dollars, they don't really have an incentive to play hard anymore. So I'd be really hard to think about anybody that really lived up to their contract in recent memory.
I have to agree with you on that, Tim. It's once they get their money, they tend to just try and prolong their career as long as they can, so they can keep getting that check. But unfortunately, they're just not performing at the level that they once would, because why would you strain your body if you were going to get the money regardless of whether you played hard or you didn't play hard? And you know what? And that's probably being a little bit hard on some of these players. Maybe some of them do have character, but I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people that would just, like sit back and just kind of collect that easy money. Easy money. I mean, you still got to work for it, but without putting the strain on your. Because most people that have never played sports or participated in sports don't realize what the actual sport is doing to people's joints and their muscles and stuff like that. Because, I mean, Mike and I, you, Tim, I'm sure we can all state for a fact that the sports have done a number on our bodies, especially when you're doing resistance sports or contact or collision sports or professional wrestling for that matter.
Yeah, and I really think that football players and professional wrestlers, man, have it harder than anybody, because those are the most full contact sports you can get outside of mixed martial arts and martial arts. And I follow mixed martial arts, man. I mean, I enjoy sports, but I really enjoy full contact and combat sports. And one thing, I don't know if you guys touched upon it or not, in the last couple of weeks, we all watched, or I think most of us watched, the Jake Paul versus Tyson Fury fight, or not Tyson Fury, but Fury's brother, and Tommy Fury. Thank you,
Tommy.
And I really think that watching that fight, that Jake Paul won that match, and the only reason they gave it to Tommy Fury is because they were fighting under the banner of a boxing council, a professional boxing council over there. And I believe they needed to give it to Tommy Fury for the purists of the game, of the boxing game. And if they gave it to Jake Paul, it would have made them look bad as a boxing ambassador for that country, because they're a council, boxing council. And
I mean,
I think it just came down to money. I think that they knew that they were going to have a rematch if Tommy Fury won, and so they give him the first one, and now they're doing this rematch thing. And I think Paul is going to come out and clean his clock in the second fight, because Tommy Fury, he has no boxing skills whatsoever. You can tell that he's just a shoddy boxer, and his skills aren't really that sharp. And he's nowhere close to being the kind of boxing athlete that his older brother is, Tyson Fury. And so that's pretty evident in just watching the first 2 minutes of the fight. His skills just aren't sharp. And Paul, actually, for not being a boxer, I think his boxing skills are better than Tommy Fury's boxing skills.
Well, a couple things that would have happened. A couple things that happened there is you got to realize, okay, what happens with Tommy? Okay, they're going to get that rematch, and it'll be a third match. If Paul comes back, then he wins the second match. then it's open for the third match. It's also increased the payout. Tom paydays have now just gotten bigger. So the overall overall marketability of the rematch, and then Tommy going forward, has just been enhanced by him being the first of probably 3 total bouts, which is, it's smart business. It's something that you don't see very often in the wrestling industry anymore. How you intend to jockey those players so that everybody's getting a good payout instead of just a few smaller individuals.
Yeah, and Jake Paul's next fight's against Nate Diaz. So that is kind of like Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. You're never going to have a mixed martial artist beat a boxer. That's like somebody playing ping pong saying they can beat a professional tennis player in a tennis match. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
especially when you're doing boxing rules. Especially during
Yes.
boxing rules, you're following a certain series. They need a boxer to go over in order to keep the sport legitimized. If every MMA guy comes over and across, once in a while they're going to have to allow an MMA guy to beat the boxer, and I think there's a reality to that. But the reason why they don't is trying to keep that marquee of boxing to be a viable sport. Do I think in a real fight that an MMA guy or a boxer is going to win in a real fight? I'll take the MMA guy 9 times out of 10.
Wow.
But that's
Wow.
I'm not showing shade at boxing.
Just look at the history of Thunder Lips versus Rocky Balboa. Okay.
Oh my God.
What the hell's so funny, man?
Every time I watch
thing,
that
right?
film, watching Hulk Hogan recite that line, Thunder Lips is here in the flesh, baby. That makes me laugh. You bring up Rocky 3 and Thunder Lips, man, because, nobody could have played that part but Hulk Hogan. But no, you're right, man. I mean, the more versed somebody is in the fight game, the more success they're going to have over somebody that's one-dimensional. So mixed martial artists in real fights would always beat boxers. And in mixed martial arts, John Jones is the GOAT, man. I mean, that guy was the middleweight champion. Now he's the world heavyweight champion. And his next fight is against Stipe Miocic. And if anybody can beat John Jones, it's Stipe. It's going to be his hardest challenge to date. But my money's still on John Jones because every time that man has faced some adversity, he's always overcome the odds.
Listen, you guys ended up bringing up the whole thing about Third Lips, Rocky. And Rocky, when it comes to Rocky, it's one of my favorite topics because the way, but when Stallone wrote that original Rocky, and he used the same principle in each one of his films. What he did was he told a good story. It was a solid story. Each story was told the same way with a different outcome. And I thought it was fantastic. And when I talk to my wrestling students, I got a couple wrestling students that they'll send me a message and say, "Hey, Paul, I got this match coming up, or I got this coming up. You got an idea for a finish?" Mike knows I was a pretty decent finish guy. You come up with good finishes and stuff like that. So I still get asked once in a while. But the thing is I find the way that Stallone tells story is absolutely fantastic. And the reason why I wanted to bring him up is because I wanted to touch about that Hulk Hogan thing. That was the perfect timing. This is the right place at the right time. Hogan was working for Vince Gagne, and he's wearing blue trunks and white boots. So same time, Jimmy Snuka is running on top in the WWF, and he has the issue with the girlfriend dying in the hotel room. And Hogan, they buy out Hogan because Vince says, "I'm going to pay guys money," and Vern was trying to pinch pennies, and he goes, "I'm going to pay guys money," and he offered him a deal, and then they perfectly marketed at that time the red and the yellow. Red and the gold was a marketing scheme, and they marketed. That was the first 100% marketed wrestler from start to finish was Hulk Hogan, and he was in the right place at the right time. And it's down to Hogan and Vince and all that stuff that made put wrestling into the modern aspect of professional entertainment the way it is even today. So it's just something I just wanted to add, and I just love putting on Stallone when he tells a good story in a movie and stuff like that. And Rockies are generally a good thing. If you watch a Rocky movie, you can set up your whole show. You set up a live show with psychology, and then the final match is a great psychological match to put on as an event. The way it was up and down, and then the big sell, and the comeback, and even do the jobs, because I love the fact one is always my favorite. Rocky 1 is always my favorite because Stallone did the job in the end, and I thought that made him a bigger baby face than he'd ever gone for. And I as a baby, I always had more success doing the job. And all of a sudden, are you guys still there? And you got that sympathy. So I thought that was always just an interesting tidbit for you guys. So
I would say I would give the credit to Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon for the birth of the success of wrestling as we know it today. Without WrestleMania, WWE would not be where it is today currently. We all know that. I would say Hulk Hogan is just as responsible for the success as Vince McMahon, because without one or the other, there would not have been the equal success. Having said that, growing up as a little Hulkamaniac, he is absolutely the worst wrestler turned actor in the history of cinema. Now that we got past that, because the dude can't act. He doesn't have an acting muscle in his body. We got past that. I'll go into the WWE a little further and say everything today is predictable. We all know what's going to happen before it happens. There is no surprise element anymore to that. I've been watching the WWE recently, and it's the same ending with the bloodline going over again and again and again and again. And it's like, okay, so now where we're at with that is they took that shining moment away from Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Everybody wanted Cody to go over WrestleMania because that would have been the peak of the most interesting, pivotal part of that storyline. Now they kept it on Roman Reigns. They would have to bring it a whole other year into next WrestleMania to give the belt to Cody to have the same impactful meaning, because without that, his win is going to mean a lot less.
Yeah, but I think Vince McMahon did one hell of a swerve when he didn't put the belt on Cody. You know, you can't give the fans what they want all the time. And if you give them what they want, they're not going to come back for more. And so, you know, like Paul said about the first Rocky film, Rocky did the job. That made the people want to come back and watch Rocky 2, buy it even more, and just get more engulfed in the whole story because they want to see the hero win, right? They want to see the good guy win. And once they see the good guy win, sometimes them fans, some of them disappear because they forgot what they wanted. They busted their nut, and you know, they're happy now, so they went home. But, you know, I think to keep the fans coming back, you can't give them what they want on a regular basis, because if you do, I think you're going to lose more fans than you're going to gain fans, you know? I just think the whole Rocky series was great the way it all planned out, you know? I mean, they told one hell of a story, and like Paul said, they told the same story every single time, just a different way in the end. And I think that's key, you know? Kind of like you, Tim, today. You've set a whole new precedence on pimping it easy, brother. You got the hat on, you got the bling on, you got the sunglasses on, bro. Where are you going looking so dapper, my friend?
Just going to Nashville, Tennessee, my man, to visit my family who I haven't seen in a couple years. They're meeting my wife for the first time. We got married February 2022 during COVID, the peak of COVID, and they weren't able to travel out to our wedding in Vegas. So we're going to do that, and she's going to meet the family, and taking our little dog with us, which is our child. That was a venture getting through TSA security with her because she almost went through the radar machine. We don't want to do that. That would be all bad. But no, man. Getting back to your point, brother, man, on Rocky, brother. that's something that Sylvester Stallone built as a franchise, and he wrote the first script of the first Rocky, and every other script for the most part, or had a large part to do with the creative. The first Rocky movie won an Academy Award for Best Picture, and the studios didn't want him to play that part. They were thinking, Burt Reynolds, for Christ's sake, totally wrong for that role, and a couple other people. But I do know now that Chardoff and Irwin Winkler, and United Artists, and the reason why Sylvester Stallone was not involved in Creed 3 is because they won't give him any of the rights to his original conception. And to get the first film made, I mean, he optioned it out to a studio, United Artists. And when you're a writer and you create something and you option it out, that pretty much means you're allowing your project to be bought out, and that producer is buying you and your rights for that film and the story of that film. But Irwin Winkler should realize, without Sylvester Stallone, the Rocky franchise would not be successful. So he needs to stop being greedy, stop being Hollywood, and give Sylvester Stallone some of the rights to his original creation. That's my opinion. And I think if this guy's in his 80s, almost 90 now, Irwin Winkler, if he passes away without Sylvester Stallone getting some of those rights, he'll never get those rights. It'll go to his children. And, so the reason why Stallone wasn't involved in Creed 3 was because he didn't want to work with Irwin Winkler. Irwin Winkler's being greedy. But he said if they do a part 4, Creed 4, without Irwin Winkler, and it's just Michael B. Jordan, he'll be involved again. But all he's asking for is some rights. I think they should go. Some of the rights should go to him.
Yeah, I saw that too, and a lot of it. And yeah, without Stallone, Rocky wouldn't have been what it is. And I agree with that. I saw an interview, and the cool thing about Stallone is, he doesn't feel he's got no ill will feelings to the people that are doing that. He just wants Winkler out of it and stuff like that. And it's funny because Winkler, and if it wasn't for Winkler, also Stallone wouldn't have been able to do that film, right? But at the same time, he's part of it. When people in 100 years, they're not going to remember, it was Winkler that helped produce that stuff. They're going to remember it was Sylvester Stallone who was acting in it, and it lit his career up. And he's gone from strength to strength. And he's got to be one of the top grossers of all time as far as leading actors in films, So, no, it's interesting. I'm glad. I love talking about movies and stuff like that because I love film. I like entertainment, and it's great. And no, it's a fantastic thing. I wanted to touch base on one other thing as we were going on, because in college football right now, there are, from Thursday before we started taping this up until Sunday, there are 40 spring games going on. There's a lot of topics going on, some interesting, because there's a lot of coach play and everything like that. I was looking at the Big Ten West because I am a huge Nebraska fan, by the way, but it's pretty interesting. Nebraska's, I think they just started actually their spring game, the red-white game. So everything's moving along, and it's only a couple of months' time until fall football season starts. And I love college football, man. What are you guys' thoughts? Okay, we know that the Big Ten East is the side of the conference that's carrying all the water for us. You got Michigan, you got Ohio State, you got Penn State, right? Penn State, they're still doing good, but they hardly get a drink of water because the other two teams are just fantastic. So we know what's going on that side. Okay, so if we talk about the Big Ten West right now, and we know everything's changing, and they're going to go away. They're going to go away from this West and East stuff. This could be the last year that the Big Ten West has a Western champion. In your book, Mike, I'll ask you first. In your book, Mike, who do you think has the best shot at winning the West? Illinois has got Bema, and they've got a lot coming back, and they finished the year pretty strong last year. Does Nebraska stand a chance? What about Fickle and Wisconsin? Purdue's got a new head coach. In fact, their spring game is going to be opposed to the public game. They're keeping everything, quiet. And then on a side note, after who wins the Big Ten West, what about the thing ESPN is trying to make story out of Matt Rule and prime time because they said he threw shade at a comment that because prime times had like 23 players leave for the portal already to transfer. So what are your thoughts on first the Big Ten and then that?
I think the West. I think the West this year is going to come down to Wisconsin and Nebraska. I don't think Purdue. They never really have enough to get over the top. Illinois the same way. They just don't get them athletes at those schools to be competitive at the top realm of college football. And I really think this is going to be a huge year for Nebraska sports. I think this is the year that you see Nebraska finally, I say, turn it around. I think this Matt Rule is a great pickup. But I do think it's going to come down to Nebraska and Wisconsin this year in the West. And as far as Rule and Deion Sanders goes, Deion Sanders, he's a pretty damn good coach. But I've heard a lot of people question about how he coaches his athletes and how he motivates them. And I just wonder why he's losing so many players to a brand new program where, they gave this man everything that he wanted underneath the sun to come to Colorado. And 23 of the current players are leaving to go somewhere else. I mean, what does that say? That there's something wrong there about Deion Sanders. I don't really know if Deion Sanders is as good as coach as everybody thinks he is. I don't think that his coaching ability has been proven. I mean, for fuck's sake, he's only coached Jackson State. I mean, who the hell has Jackson State ever beat anyway? Grambling? Who's Grambling ever beat anyway? And so, his coaching ability, in my opinion, has a big question mark on it. And I just think it's a huge move to a Big 12 program that has been struggling over the years. And yeah, it's a reach to bring a coach in. But, Nebraska's done the same thing with Matt Rule. But Matt Rule is an established coach in football, in NFL football and college football, where Deion Sanders isn't. He's just a great player. And just because you're a great player doesn't turn into being a great coach, as we all found out with Scott Frost. So I mean, I just think there's something to this Deion Sanders thing in coaching Colorado with all these players leaving. I just wonder what the hell really is going on there in the Colorado program.
I don't know if you follow it much, Tim, but anyway, I mean, the thing is I think I think Deion Sanders actually sat these guys down, and I think he said, listen, guys, there's not going to be much for you on the field. I think if you're interested, it's best you jump in the portal now because you're not going to see the field as a Buffalo. And I could see him being very direct because his interviews are very direct. Where I'm the difference between Sanders is got that superstar way about him, right? He's got that superstar element. But the difference between him and Matt Rule is Matt Rule's kind of that player's coach. He'll coach hard, but if you want to get to the next level, he'll coach you up to get to that level. I think Deion Sanders requires those 4 and 5 star players to be an 11-1 team. I think Rule can be an 11-1 team with maybe not this year, but in a couple of years with 3-star players and the underachievers because he knows how to develop players. I don't know if Deion Sanders is a developer of players. He will take superstars and make them and utilize that.
Correct. And that's
So
why
for me,
I'm
man, I really can't say that I follow college too much, but I will say historically, well, the last time that I talked to you guys and now I actually signed my favorite all-time NFL player as a client, Barry Sanders. But also historically, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was a product of the Miami Hurricanes, and it would have been interesting to see him play in the NFL because I think he would have done some damage if he didn't get injured. But his life would have been completely different, man, because, you know, we're talking earlier about actors and where they place. Do you guys know that Dwayne Johnson is the highest paid actor in the world? He makes $60 million a film plus back end gross points. He is the 6th highest grossing actor of all time. And he's got the highest net worth of any actor in the world. I just looked it up the other day. His net worth is $880 million. Tom Cruise, just in perspective, Tom Cruise's net worth is $550 million. That means Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's net worth is $300 million more than Tom Cruise. Who would have ever thought
unbelievable.
that?
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I can see that. I mean, when he first came out, and that was something you brought up about Hogan being a bad actor, right? And that was one thing I was saying for years when The Rock first got his first couple breaks in films and stuff like that. And I was like, well, at least he can act, is what I was saying, right? And I find that great because everything Hogan does is like he does in the ring, Tammy. You know, where the stuff that Rock does, he can do just about any role and stuff like that. And yeah, I haven't seen all of his stuff, but I've watched a lot of his stuff. I find him interesting but I'm a huge Tom Cruise fan. Huge Tom Cruise fan. I don't got a man crush on him or anything like that. But I find that most of his work tends to be pretty good. I mean, he's like a staple for me, like a Mel Gibson, Stallone, the Tom Cruise, those guys. Christoph Waltz is an Austrian actor who's tremendously good. There's a lot of actors that over the
What
time.
about John Wayne, brother?
John Wayne, yeah, he's no longer with us, unfortunately. But what great. I love watching John Wayne films, and Eastwood films, whatever you name it, right? So, but Tom Cruise and both of them deserve accolades. You know, unfortunately, they're trying to burn The Rock down. They're trying to blow him up about his Black Adam failing and some of the other stuff he's been doing and kind of struggling. But you all hit those, you know, balances, right? You got those chutes and ladders, as they say.
I was talking to one of my sales agents that does worldwide pre-sales on films, and they said that will not make a difference as far as Dwayne's value as an actor and where he is as far as a marquee name. His next 10 films would have to lose money before he would be affected with the box office draw that he is, which is not ever going to happen.
Well, I heard that you were working with him and you were talking with him now, and you've got spots for me and Chubbs in his next big film. That's all. That's just what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard they're going to get us spots on The Rock's next film. Right? We're going to play.
Well, I'm a talent coordinator and casting assistant for Young Rock. I've done 6 episodes on Young Rock. And I work with Dwayne Johnson. I work with his producer partner, Brian. And I work with their production company, 7 Buck Productions. And one of my next films is going to be a movie called Prism, which is a $70 million film. It's the El Chapo Guzman story that my client, Tony Tarantino, wrote, Quentin Tarantino's father. And 7 Buck Productions, which is Dwayne's production company, has that film right now into their attorney. So if they give the thumbs up from their attorney, they're going to greenlight it. And I will be the executive producer and casting director on that film. So I am doing some work with Dwayne Johnson. And I credit that to my years as a professional wrestler, because if I didn't go the wrestling route in my career as a starting point, And I didn't work with his father, Rocky Johnson, for the last 15 years of Rocky Johnson's life, which is his biological father, and wrestling, and also as his manager, I would not have the relationship that I have with Dwayne. So I'm always thankful to wrestling for that, and I'm always thankful for my relationship to his late father, Rocky Johnson, for that as well.
So let me
Well,
ask
ladies
you
and
this,
gentlemen, there you go. Universal talent, everybody. There's a nice plug for our friend Tim Beal and his talent company.
well, I got a big question for you, Tim. So you have the Rock on speed dial, bro. Can you call the Rock up and say, "Hey, what's up, Rock?"
You know, he doesn't make himself that available. So I would have to go to
Oh,
Brian, his producer partner, who would then put me in contact with him. But that would be something that I would have solidified, that the financing's in place for. There's an offer on the table. Like, that's the only time I would ever reach out to him, because I value that relationship. And I know if I didn't play my cards right with that relationship, it could be gone tomorrow. So I protect that relationship real close to the vest.
well, you know,
Cool,
me and
man.
you got
When's your
such
flight, Tim? What time's your flight, Tim? You are on sign language.
Yes, we're going to be catching our flight in about an hour and 18 minutes, so I'm going to be headed to my gate here pretty soon.
Okay.
Nice,
Yeah, we're
man.
gonna about
Well,
wrap it up. We're about 50 minutes right now, so maybe we could start wrapping this up. What do you think, Mike? Is there anything else you want to discuss while we're here, bud?
you know, I want to talk to Tim some more about this Young Rock. You know, being you got such a tight end with the Young Rock show, you know, I've seen that they've had the Mantar character on the Young Rock wearing the bull horns in the back, and you know, you can reach out to your partner there, Young Rock's main man, and say, hey, you know, if you want to have Mantar on your show from now on, I got the real Mantar, man. I can give you to put on your show. You don't have to have some jabroni wearing bullhorns, man. We can give you the real Mantar. And, you know, if they put Mantar on there again and don't ask me and don't pay me, I'm suing their ass. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
Well, you know what's interesting about that, man, is when I was going to work on Ballers, which was Dwayne Johnson's previous show before Young Rock, and Rocky Johnson, his father, was an executive producer on that show with him. And they wanted me to be an actor on that show. And I said, I don't really like the way I'm looking right now. Let me get myself in shape and then I'll do it. Well, I really regretted that decision, because I felt that was my window of opportunity to work with Dwayne. And like I said, I'll hold that relationship real close to the vest. And I was like, well, I know him. I've met him. I don't know if the opportunity is ever going to arise again for me to work with him again. And then in November 2021, they actually reached out to me from Young Rock, Universal Peacock, to be a talent coordinator and casting. And initially, they didn't want to pay any of our clients. They just said, this is a courtesy call to let you guys know that we were going to have the characters of Haku and Tony Atlas and Steve Lombardi, the Brooklyn Brawler, on the show. And then I was like, what do you mean a courtesy call? Well, you know, we've already done calls with the Wild Samoans. We've already done calls with this person and that person. They voluntarily gave us the rights to depict their character on the show. And I said, well, I run a business and I'm a talent manager. I'm not voluntarily doing anything. I said, I'll tell you what I'll do as a trade-off if you want to do that. I said, I'll trade off with you guys. Give me a letter of commitment from Dwayne Johnson to star in my next 6 movies so I can get the financing, and then I'll have my clients come on Young Rock for free, and you guys can depict their characters on the show. It took them about 24 to 48 hours to get back to me. They said, no, we can pay you guys. I was like, yeah, I kind of figured that, because, you know, it's Dwayne Johnson. Everybody's got respect for his accolades, but it's still business at the end of the day. And so I think he respected me for that, because I did the licensing deals for Steve Lombardi's character to be on the show. I did the licensing deals for Tony Atlas. I did the licensing deals for Haku, Jesse Ventura, etc., a few other people. So that's been my involvement with the show thus far. And, you know, so at the end of the day, it's all about business, man, but it's also that camaraderie and that respect. And I think he's got that respect for me, Dwayne, and his producer partner, because a lot of people would have been goo goo gaga. It's The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. Let me do what he asked me to do, and I'm not going to ask for money for that. No, I'm the total opposite of that. So I wish I had managed you, Mike, when they did the Antar gimmick on Young Rock, because I would have done the licensing deal for your character and would have got you paid, brother. But, it's okay. I can always circle back to them to say, hey, if you guys want to use him in future episodes, why don't we depict the real Mantar, Mike Halick, in that role, and let's do a licensing deal where you guys can do the character for the long term on that show. So I'll try that and work my magic and see what happens.
Hey man, you won't know until you try, man. That's all I know. All I can say is no. So, shit, anything's worth a shot, right?
1,000%.
Anyway,
And if you're in entertainment, man, you're always going to hear the word no. And most of the time, you'll hear the word no 100 times before you hear yes. That's just the nature of the beast and the nature of the business. And I've grown thick skin over the time I've been in this industry I don't let things bother me. I'm like a duck, man. It's just water off my back, brother.
Right.
excellent. So, guys, getting that time, we're going to have to wrap it up here. It's been fantastic working with you. Thanks for being back with us, Tim. Been great seeing you. I'm glad you're back on the team.
Yes.
You've cleared up your hiatus. It's been great to have you back. We got Monty in the background who's hooked us up with the StreamYard today, and it's been fantastic. Mike, do you got anything in closing before we give our goodbye? I just want to say before we go, I want to say make sure
man, it's your
like,
ball. You run with it,
subscribe,
bro.
like, subscribe, and share our video. Mike, to you, buddy.
Well, it's that time of the show, and our motto here at SOB Sports is, you only die once, but you live every day.
And I just want to
Yo,
throw this
baby, yo, baby, yo.
to people, man. Well, in closing, with you guys and your catchphrases, I love both of you guys like brothers from another mother. And anybody that's going through adversity or trials and tribulations in your life, understand and realize that your hardship is only temporary. If you put effort into each and every day that you live, you'll get through it and you'll be a better person for it. So God bless everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the SOB Sports Network, and we will catch you same time, same bat channel, and the rest is up to God. We're going to make this a great success, and I'm looking forward to everything ahead. And thank you, brothers, for the opportunity to be back on with you guys.
Thank you, Tim. Glad to have you back, bro. And to all your fans out there, we will see you same place, same time next week. Be there or be square.